Good day to you, Willard Shepard on the Miami Community News Network here from Orlando, Florida at the Florida Bar Conference. Thanks to Array allowing us to be able to come and support all of you to get you good legal information if you ever need an attorney here in the state of Florida. And if you need a family lawyer, the young lady to my right, Miss Vanessa Vasquez, now on the Florida Board of Governors that oversees the Florida Bar, and also a board member with the Miami-Dade Bar. Thank you for being with us, and
Thank you, Willard.
congratulations on all your accomplishments.
Thank you.
But a big picture for people at home, and they're seeing this on their smart devices. Tell us about how the Florida Bar is governed, and now your new responsibilities to make sure that anybody needs a lawyer, that it's done effectively.
Sure. So the Florida Bar Board of Governors assist the Supreme Court of Florida with disciplining attorneys. So whenever there's any complaints against attorneys, the Florida Bar Board of Governors sort of oversees that process before any attorney is disciplined or disbarred, etc. They also deal with other rules. Whenever the legislature passes any laws, the rules committees have to look at those laws to be able to figure out, okay, how do we actually carry out everything that that our legislature is asking, the all the courts to do. So those are sort of like the big buckets of things that the Board of Governors does.
Now, speaking of that, there's a lot of focus, obviously, on artificial intelligence and how it's been interjected. Array, that's sponsoring us today to be able to do this broadcast in this legal tech world, providing things that can make our legal services more efficient. But there's a lot of rules about this. I don't want people to think that you can just punch a few things in and head to court. That's not the way
100%.
this works. So explain.
Sure. So the biggest issue with AI with the courts and attorneys is about generative AI and the fact that you are putting some prompt into Claude or ChatGPT and it's coming back to you with a document with case law. And all of that can be problematic because AI is not an attorney and it doesn't know exactly what to do. And although it sounds good, it isn't actually always good. So a lot of the different jurisdictions like Miami-Dade and Broward had started coming out with rules and orders that attorneys needed to follow, and the people who were filing without an attorney also needed to follow with respect to AI and disclosures and disclaimers. Because right now, and I've seen it in my practice, we are getting a lot of people who are just coming up with things and filing things that don't actually make legal sense because they're using AI for it. So our Florida Supreme Court basically said, okay, we're going to issue one order so that we can make sure that, that everybody is following the same thing. And the biggest thing is basically, the person filing is taking responsibility and they can be subject to sanctions. They can be subject to having their case dismissed, et cetera, when the actual things that they're filing are inappropriate or, the case law that they're citing to doesn't exist.
Well, I always say common sense, you can use it as a tool, but we always need to inspect and verify.
Exactly.
Now, as to the Miami-Dade Bar, always concerned, as I'm sure you are, about people that cannot afford to have an attorney.
Yes.
Tell me the types of programs that are available through the Miami-Dade Bar to try to help these individuals.
Absolutely. There's a lot of different programs that are connected to the Miami-Dade Bar, including there are clinics, bankruptcy clinics, family law clinics, things like that, where people are able to basically come in and have their questions answered. There's also representation available either from the legal aid department, which works closely with the Miami-Dade Bar, Put Something Back, which is where private attorneys will take cases for pro bono, and some of the different organizations that, including a referral program where attorneys will register with the Miami-Dade Bar for a minimal fee. A person can get a consultation, and it is going to be a reduced rate for some of those services. So those are all available through the Miami-Dade Bar.
In your area of expertise, family law, unfortunately, we have times where people who are in relationships and domestic violence raises its ugly head.
Yeah.
Talk about this, the importance of stepping in, the community things that we have available, police, the courts, that kind of hopefully head this off? And what should a person do, whether male or female, if they feel that they're in a type of situation that could be dangerous?
Of course. I mean, the most important thing is always to try to exit the situation, right? Whenever there's any kind of escalation, leaving the home, leaving the location, that's always going to be the ideal. We know from the research in domestic violence that that doesn't always feel possible, and that victims, actually the research shows, try to leave an abuser approximately 7 times before they're actually successful in exiting that relationship. So the biggest thing is, of course, to try to exit the situation. From there, the courts are available for domestic violence injunctions. Once you file a complaint, there's a temporary injunction, then there's a hearing that can lead to a more permanent injunction, and that can help with, obviously, with police enforcement, with sanctions, with actually jailing somebody. Injunctions, people don't realize, are actually a civil situation that will turn criminal if the injunction is violated. So it's very important that whenever somebody takes out an injunction, that they actually take the time to report any violations to the police and to the state attorney's office, so that the person can actually face criminal actions over the violation of that injunction. So leaving the situation, getting an injunction, there's absolutely some legal services that are available for domestic violence victims, including legal aid has attorneys. CABA, the Cuban American Bar Association, also has a division of pro bono that helps domestic violence victims. So trying to seek out some of those resources is really important.
Muy importante, so important. Habla español, por favor, con domestic violence.
Absolutamente. So, lo más importante siempre es de tratar de salir de la situación, de no quedarse presente cuando hay ese tipo de violencia doméstica. Ya más allá, lo importante es sacar una orden de restricción con la corte. Con esa orden de restricción, que puede ser o temporal o permanente, eso ayuda a la persona que está siendo abusada de poder llamar a la policía, reportar cualquier tipo de incidente que suceda, y hasta reportar cualquier violación de esa orden, para poder tomar a esta persona que está abusando y que ellos vayan a la cárcel o sean separados de la situación. Lo más importante también es que hay recursos en la comunidad, incluyendo Legal Aid tiene abogados disponibles para víctimas de violencia doméstica, y también la organización de CABA, el Cuban American Bar Association, también tiene abogados que ayudan a víctimas de violencia doméstica. Así que tratar de utilizar los recursos que tenemos disponibles para asegurar de que la persona esté segura.
Gracias, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Of course.
Finally, for people who need help and want to reach out to the Miami-Dade Bar,
Yeah.
please tell us how to do so.
Absolutely. So the Miami-Dade Bar is online. Miamidadebar.org is the website, and that has more contact information, phone, email, etc.
Governor Vasquez, thank you very much for being with us today. We always want to bring you the very latest to keep you up to speed in our legal community here in Florida and beyond. So if you need an attorney, you know where to go and you know the things to look for, so you're receiving the best service.